Okay, so we're going to pick up where we left off with drawing the guidelines of the average human face to make a realistic portrait. At this time, we're going to put in the mouth. And one of the things that you'll find interesting about the mouth, and it'll help you be a better drawer, is that the mouth has 17 muscles. So what that's really attributed to is the dip right in the middle. This shape is important. We're going to go above the mouth line and then kind of dip in and go back out again, almost making like a set of mountain peaks, or the way that some kids will choose to draw a seagull flying in the sky. In terms of how wide to make the upper lip, you want to think about the fact that sometimes if you laugh till you cry, you can taste your tears. And that's because your mouth usually can be lined up below your tear ducts. So you actually want to kind of use that to help you get the proportions correct and keep things looking realistic. Traditionally speaking, the upper lip is thinner but wider than the bottom lip. That's not true for everybody. We can think of famous actress Julia Roberts. Her upper lip is actually thicker or fuller. Let's go ahead and put on a typical bottom lip now. So we're going to go for thicker this way from top to bottom and a nice round curve. And it's not going to be quite as wide. So it's going to end before the upper lip. While the upper lip is pretty wide, it's very slender where it comes to a point in the corners of the mouth. Students will sometimes ask how to make it look like it's smiling. It's a simple addition to this. I'm just going to widen this curve a little bit. Boys and girls, I can't stress enough not to take it too hard on yourself when you can't make things match at first. It really is about trial and error, and you've got to keep on trying. Can't let yourself give up after the first shot. So what you would do is you would take this pair of lips that you've already drawn, and you would simply add a second line below the bottom lip, as full as you wish for it to be. It just mimics and parallels the curve of the bottom lip, and now the mouth is open. Some people actually have a little bit of a crease in the very corners of their mouth. This gives you a nice opportunity to convey that the person is maybe more smiling, adds a little expression. You have to look at the individual or the face that you're trying to create. The next thing I think would probably be a good idea, because they line up with the mouth, is to add the ears. Believe it or not, the human ear comes all the way up to the eye line, and that's really the top of the ear. And if you think about it, your sunglasses don't just rest on the bridge of your nose, but they also have arms, or the handles, and that rests on your ears. So we're going to start the shape of the ear. Excuse my dog in the background there. It's pretty slim, but it reaches up to that eye line. Your earlobes hang down really to your upper lip. And if you put your fingers back by your jaw, you'll actually find your earlobes close by. The earlobes kind of curve along the side of the head. He's an emotional eater, my dog, so you might also hear him chomping on kibble in the background. It's okay. He's just comforting himself with a little food. Okay, so let's talk about eyebrows and eyelashes next. So the eyebrows at first are going to grow straight up. And then when you get over the pupil, remember that dark opening? They're actually going to get shorter and kind of slant off to the side, those eyebrow hairs. If you make them too perfect, it might look like the person has done a lot of grooming or spent a lot of time and money getting their eyebrows waxed to look just so. Some ladies like that look. It tends to look more realistic and natural if you let there be a few strays. But let's talk through this again. The eyebrow hairs at first are going to go straight up and down, and then they start slanting. By the time you reach this area that is directly above the pupil, they're really fairly horizontal and shorter. Lashes might be a nice touch to add now. To draw lashes, the lashes actually follow the eyelid. So for starters, I like to put my pencil right along that eyelid and keep tracing along it. When I get near the iris or the colored part of the eye, I'm going to let my pencil lift out and up, curve out and up. Again, following the lash line, out and up, just a few more. Funny thing, I notice a lot of men or young boys that have quite long, lovely lashes. And it's funny because our ladies always want those. The more curved and long the lashes are, the stereotypically female they look. That might not be the truth. It's just a gender association. On the bottom, there would just be very few short little lashes. A great way to get your hand in position and to start off is following that lash line. And truly, by the time you get to the outside of the eye, it's really fairly horizontal. For a dramatic and maybe a little bit more feminine look, you can add more lashes. It's okay if they're not exactly parallel to each other. It probably would look more natural if they overlap periodically. Our lashes get longer toward the outside of our eye. So the last thing I'd like to draw is the neck. The neck, as I said before, is going to be something that you can find when you come over to the jawline. Near the jawline and the earlobes, you really feel the neck sort of start to come down. And most students have no problem drawing this. They just miss the opportunity to use a little bit of curve or to give it a little bit of thickness. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the earlobe and the lip to kind of guide our neckline. And we're going to let it curve in just a little bit, not a lot. Two most common mistakes are either making the neck too slender or not letting it curve in just a touch. Another common stereotype amongst genders is that males would have a thicker neck and women would have a more slender neck. Okay, I think hair would be another lesson to save for another time. This is a great start, and I hope you're having a good time drawing portraits. I'm sure they're coming along and you're making progress every time you try. So keep trying.